And all new this morning, faith leaders planning to meet with executives from major local corporations next week over Georgia's new voting law. And until that meeting happens, the group say they are holding off on calls for an economic boycott that was supposed to start today. The continued pushback against Georgia's new voting law is our top story this morning. Mara Sirianni live in downtown Atlanta with some details just into the newsroom on this meeting.
That's right. Faith leaders and executives from some of these big Georgia-based companies like Home Depot and Delta say they will now be meeting. It will be a closed-door Zoom meeting set to take place next Tuesday. So, Sheba, as you mentioned, this is just into the newsroom. We have a statement here from Bishop Reginald Jackson. He now says he wants to wait until after that meeting to decide whether or not to move forward with this boycott. Now, the bishop says, quote, last month many Georgians were frustrated and angered by the passage and Governor Kemp signing into law of, quote, suppressive and racist legislation that makes it harder for African Americans to vote in Georgia. The statement goes on to say since that call to boycott, Coca-Cola and Delta have broken their silence and come out strongly against Senate Bill 202. The bishop says they are convinced that if faith leaders had not publicly committed to a boycott, company leaders wouldn't have spoken out. Jackson and other religious leaders had planned the boycott to hurt Georgia-based companies who backed that legislation. Now, Governor Kemp has said he is not backing down. And in the meantime, leading up to that big meeting, which again is set to take place next Tuesday, some faith leaders are planning a protest in Augusta outside the Masters, which is set to tee off tomorrow. But again, that meeting with these faith leaders and executives from big Georgia companies is set for next Tuesday at 3:30.
All right, Mara, thank you. And then at that point, they'll decide whether a boycott will happen or not. Okay, so of course, all of this comes in the wake of Major League Baseball announcing that it is moving its All-Star game out of Cobb County to Denver, Colorado in response to this new voting law. And just hours before we heard the news, we caught them taking down the signs advertising the big event outside Truist Park. A county official says that Cobb will not be spending the $2 million it allocated for security and transportation for the game. You may recall this was supposed to be on taxpayers' dime here, this $2 million here. But some public safety plans included in the All-Star game plans could still be considered. That's according to Cobb officials. Now, many of you have questions about Georgia's new law, especially as political figures spread their own messages about it. We made a guide that cuts through all this back and forth and breaks down exactly what is and is not included. You can find all of that on 11alive.com.